Well, the game's still going on, almost like 1 or 2 or 3 El Tiempo margaritas. That's why I'm wearing this hat. That game was drunk. Well, let's talk about this game. What happens now? We're tied with Seattle. Oh, no.
Yainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joins for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey, and we want to thank all the loyal listeners, all the people after the Astros got beat 14-1 that still tune in, become everydayers that listen to our podcast every day. Thank you to everybody that subscribes to us and make us your first listen. Apple, obviously Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. Between Brett and I, we have over 18 years of podcasting experience, and we're here for you, whether the Astros get blown out like in today's game, whether your closer has to go on an IL with a shoulder strain, whatever the pitching moves in today's game was, we're here for you all off-season, postseason, preseason. We're always here for you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets right now. So, Brett, I know you were at the game for a little bit today, but that was it was a better start for Spencer Arrighetti. But overall, the bullpen, we'll talk about some of the moves in a little bit, but the bullpen was not good today. But the big thing that we got to talk about, let's go and jump on it right now. Josh Hader going on the IL with a shoulder strain.
Yeah, and they're not really talking about the severity of it. Once one guy goes off, one guy goes on. Now, the lunatic type tweets that I'm seeing on X from Astros fans about Joe Espada is a complete moron. He threw Hader for 2 innings, and that's why his shoulder is sore and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, whatever. Like, spare me the, like Joe Espada wins 6 games in a row and everybody loves them. Someone goes on the IL. If it's not the doctors, look, this is baseball. They're humans. Mike Stanton says it all the time, guys. The arm and the shoulder are not made to do what it does. Throwing a baseball is not a natural motion. Now, I'm not making excuses, but this is something that has plagued this league and continues to plague this league more and more and more. And so, for me tonight, the best part of the game was sitting next to my guy, Ron, and getting a Jose Altuve Superman bobblehead. It started great. I was trying to be positive through the Josh Hader news, but, the question is, I think what you have to do is you keep Abreu in that 8th inning role. I think you go with Bennett Souza since he has the 4 saves, and I think that's what you do to replace him. Sean Dubin came in, should not have been put in that spot tonight. We'll talk about that more in a second. But this bullpen has got to wake up. But it's not just on the bullpen, Eric. It's just on the offense.
Yeah,
9 hits and 1 run. I mean, right. 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, 9 left on base. You know what the Red Sox did? They had 14 runs on 13 hits with 14 RBIs. When they had their first 2 runs, they only had 1 hit. The Astros had 4 hits and 0 runs. So the problem is the inconsistency of the offense. Jeremy Pena, 3 for 5 tonight. He was 3 for his first 3. He can't do it all. Yainer Diaz was 2 for 4. But still, it simply wasn't enough. And like I said, this game was completely drunk tonight, and it was hard to watch. I left when it was 7-1. I was talking to my mom on the way home to Mama Wheelhouse, and she goes, "Oh, it's 12-1 now." And she goes, "And Chas McCormick's pitching." And I'm like, that's terrible.
Yes, we'll go and talk a little more about today's game in a little bit, but I want to go back to Josh Hader. Joe Espada said that it was a punch in the gut, and that hopefully this is not going to be a long-term thing. And so we have to remember that Josh Hader has been a big reason why the Astros have had such a successful bullpen. He's 28 of 29 save chances. The Astros overall have been pretty good with the lead after 7 innings. They're 53-3 on the season. So I know you mentioned the whole fact that he threw 36 pitches in the Friday game at Yankee Stadium and in the 10-inning win. But this is something that he did a lot last year. This is something that he's already done, 5 times this year. This is something that most closers go out and do. So this is not something that probably was caused by that. It's just something that happened. And he said, Joe Espada said that everything was fine until Monday. He came in and was doing a warm-up and did not feel right. So like we said, we don't know the severity of it. This is the first time that's not COVID related that Josh Hader has ever been on the IL in his career.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, when you look at the last time he pitched, I think it was August 8th. August 8th was the last time he pitched, and yeah, he went out there 2 innings. I mean, how many games has he pitched 2 innings in? And that's what I wanted to look at while we talk about this. He has gone out there and he's pitched 2 innings back-to-back times. Back in April, he did it. Back-to-back in April. He only did it twice. And he hasn't done it since April.
7 times this season. He's done it 7 times, maybe not 2 innings, but he's pitched more than 1 inning 7 times.
But 2 full innings. He's only pitched 2 full innings 4 times. Mm-hmm. Now, 1.1, 1.2 here and there. But what I'm saying is he's only pitched 2 innings 4 times. It's not like he's pitched 2 innings all season long. So we can get off that horse. This is a guy that's highly successful. This is a guy that throws with a lot of velocity. This is a guy that has gone out there and done his job very well. If a 15-day stint on the IL calms the shoulder down and his lack of throwing and rest helps him get to where he needs to be, that's great. But in the meantime, the Astros offense, the Astros bullpen has got no choice but to step up. Because when you got Seattle winning 1-0 versus the Baltimore Orioles and winning their 8th game in a row, and now you're in a tie for the division, that means that every game right now is pretty important. So tomorrow's game with Hunter Brown, the offense needs to show up to support him.
Yes. So to bring up this situation that Josh Hader going on to IL, you had to do some roster moves today, and I know we saw some of the moves. I know you mentioned Sean Dubin earlier. He was on the IL, so this is his first appearance coming back from the IL. He looked a little rusty. He wasn't quite ready. Maybe we could talk about that in the second segment. But Sean Dubin was activated, and then you also needed a long reliever in case Spencer Arrighetti didn't pitch that well, or maybe only gave you 2 innings like he did last time, 2 or 3 innings. So they brought Colton Gordon back up, and they were able to do that by designating Hector Neris for assignment. So it's just kind of odd. The day after he reaches his 10 years, and he has that vested, the Astros DFA him. So I don't know if there's any correlation there. I know that he gave up 4 runs the night before, but it's good that he got that. That's actually a big moment for most big league players, but the Astros needed to make a change. And the reason why people are saying in the chat, well, why did you put Dubin in that situation? They had to. There was no choice. There's nobody else on the roster. If you, I know you want to talk about who's going to be the closer. Brian Abreu might be the most logical fit, but Joe Espada basically said, we're just going to piece it together. We're not going to have any assigned roles. It's going to be like you saw in the Monday's game against the Red Sox.
But the problem with putting in Dubin when they put him in was not that they put him in. It's that they put him in after Okert had gotten a second out. And Okert was fine. Okert was okay in there. Right. Actually, no, hold on. Gordon replaces Dubin. When, I believe I'm right because I was sitting there at the game. Okert had gotten 2 outs. So Okert gave up a single. Abraham Toro lines out. Willer Abreu lines out. And then Rafaela comes up. Well, when Dubin comes in, Rafaela comes up singles. Carlos Navarez hits a 2-run home run. that makes the game 5-0. There was no reason for Okert to be pulled in that inning. He had pitched 2/3 of an inning. And of course, one of those runs was attached to him, and he got the earned run because Dubin let it score. Dubin coming off 15-day IL, that was a managerial mistake, I believe. Okert stealing. He's got 2 outs. Get out of the inning. You get out of that inning, then it's still you don't have a 5-0 deficit. Maybe that changes things, maybe it doesn't. But Okert should not have been removed. That was a really bad call.
Yeah, so the Mariners have been really hot. We'll go and talk about that next. Thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
What's up, everybody? I want to tell you all about Open Phone, our sponsor tonight for Locked On Astros. Get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? Nope. You called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important. And that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. Have you ever juggled 2 calls just to keep business going, or the whole team wondering, what are we going to do? Well, you can share one number like a shared inbox. No more who's taking this call. And an AI agent helps you handle calls after hours, answer common questions, and so much more. So Open Phone is offering Locked On Astros listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have an existing number with other services, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. My name is Eric Huysman. He's Brett Chancey. We thank all the everydayers that make us part of your daily routine. I know the Astros daily routine is supposed to go out there and get some W's. Now they find themselves in a tie for first place with the Seattle Mariners. Since the All-Star break, I believe this number is correct. The Mariners are 15-8. The Astros are they're 11-13 during that same time. So the Astros have been struggling. The Mariners are red hot. I think after the trade deadline, that really bolstered their offense a little bit. So the Astros have struggled a lot with pitching. I know the Astros are getting some pitchers back, but it seems just right when you get Christian Javier back, you get Sean Dubin back, you get some fresh arms back, then you lose your closer. It just feels like the Astros are snake bit this year.
Yeah, it does.
No matter what, they keep on winning. But when you have a game like this, 14-1, it just kind of, as a fan, as a podcaster, it just kind of sets you back a little bit.
Well, but that's the thing, though. You mentioned it before. You said they keep on winning. But that's the thing. They haven't been winning. They're 11-13. They're under 500. In that span, and that's not a recipe for disaster. Now, it's not a total loss if you get into the playoffs as a wild card. You're in the playoffs. Making it to the playoffs is the hardest thing out there to do, I think. Once you're in, all bets are off. You can get hot, but guys like Jesus Sanchez got to get hot. Christian Walker was phenomenal defensively. There was a great play by Urias defensively. But offensively, they didn't contribute. So you need guys contributing on both sides of the plate, especially when your middle relief is struggling. And like Corbin said, we could talk about closers all day, but if the middle relief doesn't get you to your closer, it doesn't matter who the closer is. It doesn't matter if it's Chas McCormick, Steven Okert, or Bennett Sousa. It simply does not matter. And when the Mariners are winning games 1-0, that just bothers me. That's when baseball is truly baseball, Eric, because those are games that you would be like, come on, Baltimore, like do us a solid, score 2 runs, tie the game, make them go into extras. I mean, who knows what kind of Baltimore Orioles team are we going to face? Are we going to face the guys that have been down all year, or are they going to play up? I mean, it's Hall of Fame weekend. It's Billy Wagner retired. They are retiring his number with the Astros, all that stuff, all this pomp and circumstance. Heck, it was Superman night, and it looked like the Red Sox were like full of kryptonite tonight. Like what the heck? There was nothing super about tonight's game.
Right. So according to Matt Koala with the Chronicle, he says that the Astros led the division by 7 games on July 10th. In their past 30 games, they are now 12-18. So they're 6 games below 500 during that time. So they've been struggling a lot lately, and it just feels like there's no answer. They can't keep on trying to conquer the injuries, but it's not just the injuries, it's just the lack of production by the pitching staff. You have Christian Javier go out there, and we'll talk about Spencer Arrighetti in a second, but he looked a little bit better today, but only 2 runs, but still the bullpen comes in and blows up. It just feels like when one thing doesn't work, the other things work, or I don't know. It's frustrating right now, and it's hard to watch, and it makes you wonder what this team is going to look like in the playoffs. I mean, last year you had a team that should have won, and you got beat in the wild card round to the Tigers. I know the Tigers are a good team now, so I'm not going to discount who the Tigers were, but this team, is it really ready for a postseason as is? The bullpen as it stands right now, even with people healthy?
Well, yeah, with people healthy, yes. With everybody in the lineup and everybody healthy, yes. This team, they've still got the 3rd best record in baseball. Well, I mean, in the American League. I don't doubt this team when they're healthy, but they have to produce. And you just got absolutely locked out by Dustin May, who sports a 4.6. His ERA is still 4.67, even after 8 strikeouts, 5 hits, and no runs and 1 walk. You know, the 5 walks by Arrighetti were not great. Arrighetti got 3 strikeouts. He squeaked those out kind of late. Dubin, just a horrible outing on his way back. His ERA jumped 2 runs. It was 1.83 when he came in. It was 3.05 when he left. Colton Gordon got called back up. But what has Colton Gordon done? He has done absolutely not great things. 6 hits in 2 innings, 5 runs, 4 earned. I mean, that's just not good. Hell, Chas McCormick is out there giving up runs. When you got Chas McCormick pitching, Lord, that's
He's
bad.
67 miles per hour.
I know. No, my point is, when you have Chas McCormick pitching, things are bad. That's what I'm saying. I'm not shaming Chas McCormick for his pitching. He's clearly not a pitcher. But this team, if they're healthy, if everybody's in the lineup and they're doing what they're capable of, absolutely this team is solid. Absolutely this team is one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the American League. The American League is wide open, okay? The Tigers have not been great lately, okay? The Tigers have been terrible compared to what they were in the first half. The Blue Jays are still riding high. The Red Sox are on a heater right now. The Yankees may not make the playoffs. The Rangers may not make the playoffs. I don't know who's going to be there in the end. But if this team gets healthy, if this team gets hot, they have the ability to do something, right? But they are their own worst enemies, Eric, because only they can get themselves out of it.
Yeah. So speaking of injuries right now, some more injury updates from earlier today from Joe Espada. Luis Garcia will start in Sugarland tomorrow. Lance McCullers will start on Friday. Alvarez hit on the field today in Florida and could take live batting practice this weekend. Jake Myers is getting close to getting into games and is working out in Florida. So I would say Alvarez is semi-close to getting back into game action. So we'll see. I think we'll probably get at some point what Dana Brown said, probably a 70% Alvarez at some point back in the lineup, because the Astros need some offense. And I know at times you see glimpses of what this offense can be, especially when Alvarez comes back and Jake Myers. But at the same time, it's like tonight where they can't get anything done. And we'll talk about the matchup for tomorrow in a second. But guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is an app you need to download and use it to get tickets. Why? Because it doesn't matter if you wait until the last minute, until that concert is about to start an hour before. Why? Because you save up to 60% off the killer last minute deals with Game Time. What I love about Game Time is when you get your seats, when you look at your tickets, the price is there. There's no hidden fees. There's no once you open up the cart to pay, you're like, whoa, an extra $5. No, it's all there for you to see. If you're tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal, the Game Time Zone deals pick the best seats in your section. They offer you a panoramic seat view. With Game Time, the price you see, again, is the price you pay. Worried about what happens if your plans change? Game Time Guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and more. So take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and show tickets with Game Time. Use the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Oh, sorry. My bullpen makes me drink Gatorade. But this bullpen today was definitely something to watch. Spencer Arrighetti, his first start was not great for the Astros coming back, but you expect a little rust. You don't expect everybody to come out like Christian Javier did. He gave up the home run on Monday night, but at the same time, it wasn't as bad as he kind of settled down. But
he only gave up 2 runs. I mean, he was solid.
I know he was solid, but I think that what Spencer Arrighetti did was he's trying to get the touch. He's trying to get the feel. And I think, yes, the 5 walks was a little bit alarming. I don't think he has the touch totally yet. But the thing that we can look at is he did go 5 innings in this game, which saved the bullpen a little bit, despite the struggles they had later on. But also he only allowed the 2 runs. And so the Astros did have some positives in this game. Spencer Arrighetti looked a little bit better. The control is a little worrisome, but otherwise, what did you, since you got to watch it, what did you think about Spencer Arrighetti?
Too many walks, not enough strikeouts. I mean, the bottom line. I mean, yeah, the game wasn't out of hand when he was in the game. He didn't give up any runs, but he gave up 2 runs. He gave up 2 runs. It was 2-0. It was a manageable game. Again, I think Stephen O'Kurt stays in there. You don't give up the 4 spot. Completely changes the complex of this game. Arrighetti just got to be better, though. You can't have 5 walks and only 3 strikeouts. He's got swing and miss stuff. He's got to figure it out, and he's got to be able to hand stuff to his pitchers that he can trust that middle relief. But at the same time, again, the Red Sox had 2 runs on 1 hit. The Astros had 4 hits and no runs. You can't get hits and not produce. If you have 4 hits, you should have 4 runs. That's what my dad always told us that playing baseball. And we never understood it. And basically what he's saying is when you get hits, guys should be moving on bases. When guys are on base, you need to be bringing them home. And so your hits and your runs should be equal. If you have 12 hits, you should have at least 10 or 12 runs. And tonight is just one of those very anemic nights for the Houston Astros. 9 hits and 1 run. That is not going to cut it.
Yeah, and it didn't help that Alex Bregman had another home run tonight. It was opposite field home run this time. He normally pulls the ball, but that was opposite field. And so the Astros just got beat in this game. All you could do is look ahead to tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
You have Brown versus Walker Buehler. I'm not going to really pick on his ERA because the guy we pitched against, Dustin May, didn't have a very good ERA coming into this game. But the Astros just got to go out there and pitch good. Like Hunter Brown has got to just pitch good, and you got to go out there and get some hits, get some timely hits. And I'm just frustrated after today's game. It's embarrassing to get beat 14-1, but when you have to throw a position player, I know Cooper Hummel actually looked good in his appearance. I think he only gave up the 1 run, but it's embarrassing when you have to have. I remember when John Cantangelo, I believe that was his name, used to come in and pitch. It was always a bad time for Houston Astros when you have to have like Sid Bream or somebody like that come in and pitch. But it was just okay.
I'm sorry. So last time the Astros faced Walker Buehler, 4.1 innings pitched, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run, and 3 walks. So the Astros have had success against Walker. So and Walker's not having his best year. So Eric, maybe that's what we need. Maybe Hunter Brown opposed by Walker Buehler. I like our chances tomorrow. If they win the series and then Seattle loses, it's back to being up by a game. So they are in control of their own destiny.
Correa actually has a home run against him, and Christian Walker has 3 home runs in his career against him in 27 at bats. So that's something to be positive about. But the Astros has just got to wake up. The Mariners they smell blood and water, and they know that it's time to take advantage of this. But the Rangers, I'm not too worried about, but the Mariners are nipping at your toes. And right now, they're no longer in your rearview mirror. They are tied with you in first place. So you've got to focus on winning. You got to go out there and just do better than you've been doing. I know you've been playing some rough teams like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Pirates. I'm joking. But some of the other teams that are just not good teams, but the Astros should be. I know since All-Star break, they haven't been playing good baseball. Even before, I know the Rangers series before the All-Star break, that was a bad series. But they just got to get back to winning, and I don't have anything else, Brett. I'm just frustrated.
Hey, yeah, man. Well, hey, wash it. Come to the ballpark tomorrow. Forget about it. That's what you got to do. You have to have a short memory. Get it done. Baseball players don't live in the past. They live for today. The next pitch that you take is the most important. But don't take a third pitch strike tomorrow. Be swinging. Don't swing at first pitches. Don't look at the last pitch. That's my advice. And let's go get a victory. Let's win 2 out of 3 from Boston and take a day off and then play Baltimore and celebrate Billy Wagner and absolutely crush the Orioles. It'll be a good patting if we can do that. So that's all I got, man. For myself, for Eric, everybody here at Locked On Astros, y'all have a good one. Again, we're here with you. No matter rain or shine, whether win or lose, we got your back because we're your team every day.
All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, and go Astros.